In our Wednesday KSAT Q&A, we are joined by San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg to answer some big questions about issues facing the city right now. Mayor, thanks for being with us. We want to start with the big announcement about bars today. We know that the judge said that he is now opting in under certain conditions to the governor's order allowing bars to reopen. That's expected to hopefully happen sometime next week. He said that you all were really in accord about this. We know that bar owners, employees, so many others have been suffering while their doors have been closed. So why is this the right move, not only for them, but for where we are when it comes to COVID?
Well, first of all, the conditions within the community have to be closely monitored. And right now we're at a level of infection that has really been brought under containment. And that's because everyone has been mindful of the public guidance, and we've been thoughtful as we've been making decisions about moving forward and opening events in different facilities. Some events and some facilities are a little bit harder to manage by nature of the behavior that we see in them and the kind of operations that they are. And so the reason why I think that this is going to be successful is that if we maintain focus on behaviors and operations as opposed to particular places, we can focus on the things that we need to do to make sure that it's done safely. So just like the mask mandate that was put on businesses, and one of the reasons why we were able to conduct that is that businesses had to adopt the mask mandate on behalf of their customers. We were successful in opening businesses up with that mandate. Same thing here. Bars that agree or bars that comply with the guidance that has been offered by the public health professionals in terms of distancing, in terms of seating people who are not multiple parties together, no service standing, no service at the actual bar. You have to remain seated. Mask wearing. So as long as we are mindful of those public guidance, public health guidance, we'll be able to do this safely. They will be enforced. These are mandatory measures that have to be put in place. So if everyone is mindful of these things and cooperates, we feel like this can be successful.
Talk about schools. There are a lot of the big districts that are saying they're going to allow kids that want to be in school to come back next week. They'll still offer the virtual learning, but they also are allowing people to come back. Your thoughts on that?
You know, we're right on the edge. We're right on the edge. Last week, we dipped below 5% positivity rate. This week, we dipped or we came back up a little bit. Very small deviations, but we're above 5% right now in terms of positivity rate. So the recommendation is that in-person learning is limited to small pods of students, no more than 6 per pod. And so we have occupancy at 25%. That's still the public health guidance. Whether it's bars or schools, I think it's the right thing to do to follow the public health guidance, and that's what I would recommend. Hopefully by next week we see that positivity rate again come down, but everything is dependent on, you know, how much this virus is transmitting, how well we can regulate our own behaviors within certain facilities. So, you know, the schools that are having 6 people in their class or schools that go, you know, even beyond that, it's going to be really incumbent upon them to make sure that safety protocols are put in place in those facilities.
Mr. Mayor, you know, I'm a big advocate of people voting. I don't care who they vote for, just so they vote. Don't silence your voice. But we're seeing a lot of long lines out there. Are you at all concerned that it's taking people so long to vote?
No, not really. It just shows you how important people believe their right and their privilege to vote is. I do know that the county has made some adjustments based on the demands, the volume of people they've seen at certain sites. I think those kind of adjustments are going to be helpful in reducing the wait. But look, this is the most important thing that we can do to make our voices heard in the government and electoral process. And, you know, some people have been waiting years to cast this vote. And, you know, an hour or so is not going to slow them down. I will say, if folks want to reduce that time, scout around. One of my colleagues told me there was no wait at Our Lady of the Lake, which is a brand new polling site. So I went down there. I voted in 15 minutes. So depending on where you go, there's going to be a little bit of a wait. But the county has done a great job with safety mechanisms, with the, considering we're still in a pandemic, and also helping to adjust to make sure the wait times are reduced as we move forward.
Yeah, I also think we have some of that information on our website where you can get kind of the busiest
Oh,
sites
good.
and maybe good places to go to vote.
Yeah, some people waiting just minutes, but other people waiting several hours around town. So you were out and about. You said you voted yourself. Were you expecting the kind of turnout we saw on the very first day of early voting?
Kind of. I was. I know there's been such a pent up excitement for this election for so many reasons, from the top of the ballot to the bottom of the ballot. People are ready to get out there and let's do this. Let's go vote. I mean, we've been talking about it for years. On the local side, we've been talking about it for months, if not years. So, people are excited. The long lines are inconvenient, but the long lines illustrate that this community is excited about this election. There's optimism and hope for the future, and people are casting ballots to make sure that that hope comes to fruition.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, as always, appreciate your time. We'll see you tonight on the Night Beat.
Thanks, y'all.
We'll be right back.